Well, hello accounting students. Welcome to week 3 of the course. We're halfway through. It's only a 6 weeks course, so very good. Excellent job there. I know last week was a little tough because we did a couple of modules. Here's the other thing that might throw you a bit is that the modules will now not sync with the week, obviously. So we are in module 4, but week 3. So again, make sure you have that conceptualized, or you're just doing fine as you progress in the course. Remember, we will have one more week where we'll do a couple of modules. Again, the material has been lightened. You can't tell from previous how we normally run this course, so hopefully it's not too bad, but it is, I know it is a lot of work, and I know that the accounting class historically for students has been difficult. It is kind of a new language. It's stuff that some people, it doesn't really resonate with them, but it's really important to know this information because it is the foundation of everything financial that we have within healthcare. And it's whether we like it or not, it is the driving force behind everything. How we build hospitals, how you get paid, how we make, bring in new equipment and provide new services to patients. All of it is ultimately done through financial mechanisms, and the language of those financial mechanisms is accounting. So again, keep grinding through it. I've mentioned this in a previous video. Most students do really, really great in this class as long as you put in a good faith effort. All right, well, I'll stop my cheerleading there. Let's take a look a little bit what we're doing this week. And I've had a couple students reach out because this week they've seen something show up. So remember, we are in week 3, but module 4. And the dreaded midterm has shown up. I know that can cause anxiety for folks. So the midterm, please do not, it should be very manageable for you. And with that, I tell you what, if you're watching this video, what I'm going to do is you get a special sneak preview of the midterm to give you an idea of what it's going to be like. It will cover, as it says here, all the content from modules 1 through 4. So obviously modules 1 through 3 is content you've seen that you've been quizzed on, and then there's the new content in module 4. All right, so let's take a look at the first few questions that will probably be on the midterm. So you may want to write these down. But again, I want to give you a flavor, bring down that anxiety of what it might look like. So some of these questions may look very familiar to you. Remember, there will be some new material from that module 4 that you will have not seen before. But question 1, which of the following statements about finance, accounting, and financial management is the most correct? Now, these questions that you've seen in quizzes, so there's the secret. These questions have appeared in all of your quizzes, for the most part, completely unedited. So go back to those old quizzes in those modules 1 through 3 and look at the ones that you may have gotten wrong, and know that they're probably going to resurface in this midterm. So most folks do get A's on the midterm. And the most correct, that's a very challenging question because it is somewhat interpretive. And the quizzes are meant to be the hardest component of the course. But don't let that throw you, and then when you re-see these questions again on the midterm, you can obviously get them correct. So again, this question should look pretty familiar. I forget what module this one popped into, but that was there before. Which of the following are not finance activities? There's a question that will be on the midterm. We'll do 5 of these. How does that sound, guys? So question 3, again, these should look very familiar to you. Which of the following statements about the finance department at a large healthcare organization is the most correct? Again, maybe review some of those previous quizzes. I won't give you the answers, okay, but I'm showing you 5 questions here. So In very small health service organizations, the finance function is managed usually by the person called what? There you go. Got some choices there. Question 5. Which of the following best describes characteristics of a business? I think that was in Module 1. So there you go. Hopefully you got that one correct. And we'll give you one more. What the heck? I know it's been a hard week for you. Question 6. Which of the following characteristics of the health service industry warrant a specific focus on healthcare finance? All right, guys, so there you go. There's a sneak preview of the midterm. Again, it's going to be highly recommended to look at those old quizzes, get the flavor of that, what you got right, what you got wrong. And most likely will be recycled on the midterm. Let's take a look real quickly, though. Let me pop back into the module. I think that's really the only unusual thing that we have this week is the midterm, and everything else is pretty much standard fare. Yep, readings and presentations, our learning activity. We have another progress journal in there as well. So hopefully not too difficult. I know the learning activities tend to be the ones that take the most time to do, and that's the way I designed it. And this week we're going to be doing the balance sheet, and you do, in order to get the full points. I've noticed this on some other learning activities. You don't. The balance sheet could easily be, fill multiple courses. And does in the study of accounting, really it does. I mean, you can almost major in the balance sheet, if you will. So it's easy, low-hanging fruit. Okay, doesn't take too much Googling to squeeze out about 2 pages, discussing what the fundamentals of what a balance sheet is. Obviously, or I should say, not obviously, it's many of you have reached out to me. Can I use a textbook? Absolutely use a textbook as a resource, and then go grab another one out there. What I find that works really well too is having 2 textbooks. I'm not telling you to go out and buy another textbook, but just saying out there, if you use Google Scholar, sometimes you can find an older finance book, textbook, ebook in ebook form. You could find even an older, maybe healthcare, accounting and finance book, kind of that sort of fair use that you can find through Google Scholar. Even at the library, there are some ebook textbooks. So right there, you've got, if you've got your mainline textbook and you've got another healthcare and a finance textbook, or even a standard, finance textbook, you can just kind of put everything together just from those 2. I personally do that when I do some of my writing, and have 3 or 4 textbooks at the ready that on a given subject that I can just pull from them immediately. So there's a little a sneak peek, or a little trick, if you will, to not have to do a ton of research, because you'll have a second textbook that's already there. And again, there are many out there that are in digital form that are free, or that you can get from the library and download. So there you go. But you do want to make sure you have 2 full pages. If you only have a page and a smidgen over that, you're probably getting a few points deducted. Because, you really need to have a robust, a full discussion of that. When I say robust, 2 pages, double spaced, should be pretty easy, to knock that out. I don't crush people on APA as much, but, they should be well-rounded, well-developed paragraphs. It should be readable. It should reflect your own thoughts, even though you're paraphrasing others. That's totally fine. And make sure you're citing. In any class that you do, if in doubt, oversight. Just so we don't get into any trouble with plagiarism, even unintentional plagiarism. You want to be careful there as well. It is fair game that any of these assignments, I can submit to turnitin.com, which you can't beat turnitin.com. Trust me. It is very good in finding almost any obscure thing that you have out there and comparing it, to your material. So, just make sure, guys, if you see something, you just don't copy it, cut and paste, just rephrase it. Take it and, make sure you take that. You can take even the spirit of that sentence or that 2 sentences or that paragraph, read that a couple times, and then just go, okay, put it away, don't look at it, and then just write your own version of that paragraph. And that will come up, 9 times out of 10, that'll come up clean. That will come up not as as plagiarism, and it's not. You've rephrased that in your own words. It's perfectly acceptable. And then you cite, and then you're golden. So there you go. Because a few of you got some points off, especially on not having enough, pages or enough information, on these. Again, you want to have nearly 2 pages. Now, some of you did like way overboard, 5 pages. Great. If you want to do that, totally up to you. I'm not giving extra points though. So if you just get the 2 pages, button it up there. Maybe you need to finish it out on the 3rd page, another, paragraph, but I wouldn't go, in my opinion, I wouldn't go any more than that. I'm really looking for that 2 pages of meaningful information, which for all of these topics is very easy to do. All right, guys, everybody have a fantastic week. Kind of another crazy week in 2020. Can't wait for this year to be over. But there was some really, there was some cool news as well. I don't know if you watched the SpaceX launch. I'm a kid of Apollo. I have early memories of watching some of those Apollo missions, in the living room. Not the first one, because I was only 3 years old. But, no, I was 2. No, I was 2 because it was 69. So, yeah, so do the math. Yeah, I'm 53. Grew up with Apollo and then seeing, grew up obviously with the shuttle as well, and then seeing SpaceX. Really some cool stuff. I mean, absolutely cool stuff. So there's a little bit of good news happening in all the bad. Well, everybody stay safe and have a great week. Thanks.